Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is Tuesday. What do we got? September 16th, 2025. Time for the day after Bill Burr's Monday morning podcast. My name is Joe. If you know, you know. If you don't, welcome to the fucking show. All right, let's see what we got this week. Let's see. As I mentioned, I'm trying to do the Tuesdays for fucking reacting to Bill and shit. So I listened to this Thursday, and obviously the sports games he was talking about, they came and passed. So he said he was excited about the Bills and Jets, and I think that's hilarious. Just because, like I said last week when he said something about the Steelers Jets. As a Jets fan, I know they're chronically losers. Like it's not even a specific player, a specific year, coach. Because even like Rex Ryan, they made it to the fucking, almost to the Super Bowl. But what happens? Butt fumbles, fucking, all the worst luck shit you could have. So, in sports-wise, it's that was funny. That does actually look like the Red Sox and Yankees are going to have a wild card game. Now, the Astros are right there. We do have some games left, so we don't know. But it does look like, what is it, a one-game winner-take-all? Or is it a best-of-3? Do they do a 3-5-7? I know it used to be fucking 5 in the division and 7 for the conference and pennant and the World Series. So is it a 3 for the wild card? Oh, maybe it's maybe it's 3 now because they got that extra wild card. So it makes 6. Is it 6 teams? And 2, and the first 2 get a bye, It's not a day. Yeah, it used to be one game. I don't fucking know. I don't pay attention. Anyways, I'm not gonna let it fucking hold up. But so yeah, that was a little bit on Thursday. He said he had a good week, hung out with his kids, blah blah blah. And then let's see, it wasn't really too much. Thursdays are the shorter ones. Didn't really go into anything specific that I can remember that was funny or he said let's keep it all positive because what happened last week and obviously what it was, not even just what happened, but then the anniversary, the day after. And then, obviously there's all the tension and division and blah, blah, blah. And fucking, that shit's crazy. I don't even know what to comment on it because, seems like anytime there's even a chance of unity, it seems like something, somehow, or someone, somewhere, something. Either way, there's a variable that comes into play that fucks the unity up, and now here we are, waiting on, waiting on what's gonna happen. Are people gonna not riot, but it's like, all right, is it gonna be not accepted? I don't know what the word is, because it's, like I said, it's not a nice thing when someone's taken out, like, and has a family and shit. But, what the governor said, what the Utah governor said, like, everybody, we all got to come together as a country. Like, we should. It sucks. For me, I was thinking about it, and in my lifetime, the only time I remember the whole country, it didn't matter. There was a flag on every house. Every car was honking at every other car, USA, 2 times. The only 2 times in my life I can remember that we, as a, full country, didn't give a shit about, this person wants to have, an abortion, and this person wants to dress like this and be called this, and, I'm this color, you're that color, blah, blah, blah. We came together, and it was like, it didn't matter because we're all American and we're together and we care about each other. And that was, 9/11, and then fucking, the day that Osama was caught, and everybody was celebrating and it's like those 2 are the only 2 times in my life that I can remember unity in the country. And, sadly, like I was saying, it's we need it more than ever now, just for, well, not just for, but, you know, we need it more than ever for for the kids. You know, screw it, I don't even care. You know, like my generation, older generations, we're all fucked. But the kids, you know, they deserve a chance. They deserve a chance. Fucking skibbity 6'7" motherfucker. Fucking kids, man. But, yes, let's see. Bill, all right. Now we go to Mondays. It's actually, I have to say, I don't know about Thursday, because, like I said, it's shorter, so he didn't have much time, and then he went short anyway. And then, I guess with Monday, yeah, he said something about taking Nia out to breakfast or something. And, I know he had to pause. Somebody, like, kicked him out of a fucking, wherever he was. You know, wherever he was sitting. There was no video, so he was just sitting, you know, recording, but, like, audio, I mean. But, yeah, you know, he said somebody came up and he had to pause. But then after that, he was home. Oh, so, that's my thing. So, yeah, he was outside, fucking had to pause. Must have been at where he lived, like, near where he lived, because, you know, after his pause, he's, talking to Nia. And, you know, I mean, it's cool when she's in the podcast anyway, because, you know, then it's a back and forth, and, you know, they have a cool dynamic because they can, you know, dig on each other. But, but even besides that, Bill's been, you know, a little, because he's happier or whatever. No, actually, that was Thursday. That's the thing I wanted to remember is, he's like, yeah, it's shorter because I'm happy. And then he starts going into, you want to hear the old Bill? Something, but it was his workout routine. But he started sounding like he was going into angry, or not even angry, but just fucking, you know, letting off steam about something, which is the Bill that we all laugh at, right? But it didn't happen. He just talked about how he does the stair stepper now instead of the elliptical because they're getting rid of them or people are using them. It's just funny. He's talking about doing the old man workout. Like, you know, the old man workout is when you use the spoon, that big wooden spoon, to put your heel in the shoe. That was a kitty cat, man. That's one thing I noticed when I moved up here. So many cats. I mean, raccoons, squirrels. You know, the wild, like, I guess rodents or fucking marsupial varmint. I don't know what the varmint's a, you know, bad word for them, but I don't know, whatever you want to call all the little, you know, not just squirrels, not just fucking raccoons, but anything that crosses the road, you know, that you hit and you're like, oh, poor thing. But, you know, I never really saw like a house cat, you know, around Tampa Bay. But man, I swear it's every fucking day here on the way home or the way to work. Yesterday I saw an armadillo, which, you know, like I said, that's more outside. But yeah, I just saw a white and black, cute, I mean, adorable little house kitty, but obviously passed. But anyway, back to Bill. So yeah, he's like, yeah, he's, you know, happier, blah, blah, blah. But then Monday he had to pause. He was talking, said how he talked to the guy, and the guy was cool, because, you know, everything that happened last week, the whole country right now is just like, why can't we talk to each other without somebody, somewhere, you know, wanting to harm somebody? It's like, you know, it's just a fucking conversation. Like, if we can't even talk, you know, then we might as well split the, like in one of the debates, they were like, oh, the person said, oh, every state should be its own country. And it's like, well, if we're going to get to the point where we can't agree to disagree even, you know, and be civil, then I guess every state should be, you know. I mean, I'm not saying it is. You know, that's in the future, depending on how everything goes. But, yeah, no, I mean, we all fucking, you know, it's too much. I don't know. It's getting to be too much. You know, I don't know whether it's, you know, oversensitive or, you know, I don't know what the deal is. But, I mean, yeah, it seems like everybody takes everything personal now, you know, and even if it's not even, you're not even in the group, you know, it's like you hear, oh, you know, fucking Susie said, you know, all of these people are like this, you know, she said that, like they say, you know, say something back in the 90s and it's on video and it comes out today, now you're, you know, a bad woman, a bad man, a bad whatever, you know, because you said or did something that might have been stupid back then, like not even necessarily looked at as bad, just stupid, ignorant, silly, you know, maybe you shouldn't have said it, whatever, some shit like that. But, no, that's not the way it, unfortunately, everything is offensive. And, yeah, I don't know which way the country's going to go, because, at first, after Wednesday, it was like, all right, that was Wednesday. I personally don't endorse, like I said, no harm any way in any shape or form that I don't endorse. And it shouldn't be part of the country's, it shouldn't be part of our way of solving, especially not debates or even arguments, or even fight. What happened to the old, my dad or fucking old Bill Burr? Like, what happened to their childhood when it was like, okay, we disagree, meet me at the bridge at 7:00, and all the school kids will, fucking make a circle and put up your dukes, man, or whatever the fuck they said. I don't know, but what happened to a good old-fashioned fucking throwdown one-on-one? I punch you, you punch me, fuck around and we will see. But at least it ain't fucking getting shot. I know it didn't rhyme. I don't even know why. I didn't mean to make that into a little fucking jingle, but I did anyway. I don't know what. Yeah, like I said, I didn't mean to make it to fucking rhyme it, but yeah, I don't know. It's just, seems like there's a lot better ways. Even the people, not even just with him, but the people talking to him. Like, some of the people get so angry and yell and scream. And I'm not saying, he didn't fucking cut people off. Plenty of times cutting people off or just going to an extreme. And I'm not saying one side or the other. I'm not picking sides. I'm not getting in there because I'm not getting involved. But what I will say is, I did see, I think I've seen, him cut people off and kind of be rude, but I've also seen plenty of people, cut in and be rude themselves and not give him a chance. So, point is, all the fucking people need to, have respect and not cut in, and interject that, and that's what, the quote unquote smarter people when they're debating or whatever. Like, I'm not cutting you off, I'm interjecting. Well, if my mouth's still fucking moving and noise is coming out, then that's a cutoff. I don't give a shit what fancy words you put on it. It's like, oh, we're having sex. Did you come? No, I didn't, but I ejaculated. Like, come on, get the fuck out of here. You fucking, you did something or you didn't do something. The word describing it. Now, his whole, give me the definition of a woman. Unfortunately, and I'm not anti, the letters community. I'm not anti anything like that. I'm anybody, live your truth, be yourself, be happy. But, I mean, if he's saying, and when he says give me the definition, I know what he means. He's saying, like fucking Webster's, Oxford Dictionary, whatever, Merriam-Webster's Dictionary, page, whatever, fucking between the other, woman would be between whoa and the W, whatever the fuck, woo, or whatever, but that's what he's talking about. He's being very specific, and like deliberate in what he's asking for. And, unfortunately, people answering are always like, well, it's a person who, and it's like, no, I know where you're going, and, me not being in these videos I'm watching, I know what they're trying to say, but unfortunately, you're talking to somebody who's waiting on, like, I don't want to say factual, because even everything in science that was proven, 1,000 years ago is disproven now. So what's fact now may not be fact, in later years. But for the argument of, those debates, if you say, give me the definition, I would assume you're asking for the textbook. So that's what I would have given. And I agree with the definite, like, what is a woman? A woman is, if we're talking about humans specifically, it's, because some species can change sex, under stress and things like that. So, but if we're talking about a human, just straight out of the womb kind of deal, actually, even then, because then you got woman, you got female, you got feminine, you got, there's different things. So, are you saying a woman as in a female of the species? You know, like and then even then, you got the natural born versus, trans, which, his argument was like trans isn't really a thing. It's more of just like a behavior or something. And then what was the other? One of my friends on Facebook posted this, and it's not an argument against or for. Like I said, I'm not going into liberal or conservative, or I'm not going into any of that. That's for all the people on TV and the people that want to risk their lives. Apparently, I'm not even being funny, because we all fucking saw what happened. He never hit nobody, hurt nobody, like physically. People didn't agree with him, people didn't like his words, but and you see what happened. Like JFK, they say he wanted peace. He wanted to make peace with the East and all that. Didn't want the Cold War to go on, and then so they say, hey, the government had other plans, blah blah blah, whatever. But that's a different story. Anyway, shit. Oh yeah, there's a part in the Bible that says there's 3 types of. Well, it says eunuchs, not trans. And I think if you're going to get, and I'm sure if you correct that and you go to the dictionary, a eunuch would be having no parts. That's if I remember correctly, but I'm just going off of school definitions, and I don't really pay attention too much. Well, I mean, I did, but I don't. It's not something I retained because I didn't really think I needed to. But even in the Bible, it does say there are 3 types: born that way, created by themselves, aka you got rid of your own stuff, or created by man, as in they castrated or whatever, however you want to, for female or etc. But it's in the Bible, so if it sucks. Well, first let me say it sucks someone losing their life. That's the biggest. But as myself, someone who likes debating, and then all the people in the world and in the country that probably wanted to debate this guy, now because of this one asshole kid, not like I said, not only is a life gone and a family, changed, but now, he won't get to live to see whether he was right or wrong, or how right or wrong he was. Nobody else will ever get to debate any of their points to him. So it's like there's so many answers and questions that are left just out in the open that it's like, not like I said, not only is a life unfulfilled. Well, I don't want to say unfulfilled. That might have been God's purpose for him, but it's cut short. Maybe that way. Not only was a life cut short and other lives, affected, ruined, but we're at now we're at a fucking stage where, like I said, that millions of people now will never get their chance to prove him wrong, or see if they can, or whatever the case. But anyways, back to Bill. Yeah, it's funny. I say that Fridays are going to be my own talking, and then Tuesdays will be Bill. And I'm trying to format it that way, but shit connects, because he talks about current events, and then I talk about them, and then, a lot of his comedy and humor and shit blends into stuff that I either want to talk about or think is funny. I don't have any me and my wife, banter back and forth. That was Monday, so that's the yesterday's podcast. That was the funny part. Was sorry, I thought it was Wednesday for a second because I've been late so much lately. But no. So yeah, it's yesterday. She came in. He was. It was funny at first. Key and Peele, they did a skit show for a while, and one of the skits was talking about their wives, but it's like you're not calling her a name to her face, so they're like up in a tree whispering, like fucking across the street from the house, and they're whispering, like talking about what talking crap to their wives, and then the wives open the door and they call their name, and it's like, oh hey honey, and we're just sitting here in the tree hanging out, and Bill did the same thing. He's like, near this and near that, and nothing, bad. He's being funny, but and she walks in the room, and he's like, oh, here, and he gets real quiet, and he's like, here she comes, and it just brought me right back to the Key and Peele that I said, bitch, because that's exactly where he went. And she's like, what are you talking about? You talking about me? And then he had to come out with it. He's like, yeah, but I'm being funny. But it's like, he was being funny. He wasn't, Nia, if you ever listen to this, like, no, he wasn't about to be rude or say anything mean. But it's just funny because he quieted down like he was hiding from his parents coming. Like, oh shit, Dad's coming. Like put the fucking remote away. Turn the TV off. Dad's coming. Put it back on his channel, or whatever. Oh man, Bill's hiding from his wife. That's how you know she wears the fucking pants. And and then she comes in and she's like, "See, I'm managing you." and then he does an ad for something like 120 sports drink, or not sports, or maybe what was the drink for? No, I don't. It wasn't fucking sports. It was something. Oh, it was a super fruit. Yeah, because he's like, you're a super fruit. He called Nia a super fruit. And I love it because it's like, that's something I do all the time in my life. Was one of my, it's like a mainstay, like a staple comedy thing. Is, it's especially when people say, like, when I'm checking out, like at a food place, at a store, like at work, anywhere anytime I'm leaving a person behind and they say have a good day, instantly if I can think, if I'm ready mentally, like I knew it was coming, or I expect it, instantly they're like, thanks, thank you for coming, have a good day, and I'll be like, you first. And it sounds, just the tone of it sounds like, whoa, like, fuck you, what do you mean you first? And then it's like, wait a minute, have a good day, you first. Like, and I do it on purpose because it's, like I said, the tone, and if you don't think about it, you just react to the what you're hearing. You're like, hey man, I said have a good day, what's your problem? But then when you catch it, it's actually, I'm wishing you a good day as well. I just came out with it in an aggressive way. So, like I said, like leaving work, it's like, all right, everybody, drive safe. And I'm like, you drive safe. So when Bill said something about superfruit, and he's like, you're a superfruit, it made me, I was crying. Because that's, like I said, that's something I do. So like, say I walk in the house and the roommate's like, have a good day at work. I'd be like, you have a good day at work, or I'll be like, how was your fucking day? But it's always a positive. I make sure to do it, like whatever we're talking, I make sure whatever I say is positive, just so it's not, because, obviously you say something negative tone, it's a double, negative on negative, now you're just a dick. But if you say something positive, like, like I used to ride around with my friends in the car, and, I'll never forget, we were going down this road, this guy was riding his bike on the sidewalk, and, we're in high school, so we're just being jackasses, yelling at people, but we're not dicks like that. I mean, we're dicks, but we're not, we're not dicks like, actually jerks to people, like, like sitting there cussing them out. So we're going by, and my friend's like, oh, I'm gonna get this guy, and he rolls the window down, and we ride by, and he's like, hey, fucker, nice bike, and the guy's like, fuck yeah, and he's all pissed off, screaming. But I don't even know if he caught what my friend said, because he said, hey, fucker, nice bike, but it was just like, hey, nice bike, and it's like, if you think about it after, it's like, oh, it was just a compliment, but it happened so fast, the guy was just like, rah, 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 fucking yelling back. So, yeah, I mean, it still can be taken, but that's where it started, and ever since then, I've loved it. Because, like I said, it's like, even if the person starts out angry, you gotta, they have to reel themselves back in once they realize what you said. Like, I've even had a few, it's like, what? And I was like, you have a good day, or like, I'll repeat it, and they're like, oh, you could, and then they feel kind of dumb. They're like, oh, you caught me off guard. I thought you said this. I'm like, no, I do it as a joke, like I do it on purpose, to be funny, whatever. And people aren't expecting it, it's always like, fuck you, no, fuck you. So it's like, have a good day. You have a good day. you don't expect a comeback, a positive, a nice one like that, so quick. So, and so aggressive. So that's, I love doing it, especially places like a Walmart or a fucking CVS or a gas station. Because, or like restaurants, a little different. You might not see them when you're walking out. But, like, yeah, the places, like I said, when you're walking away from someone, like a cashier or a fucking roommate or a coworker, like when you're actually just, fucking, technically, if they didn't have a car or a home, you're leaving that person right in that fucking spot. Those are the moments that I love doing it. And it's, like I said, man, drive safe, have a good night, have a good day, enjoy your meal, whatever it is. Like, if I can, not angrily, but if I can get you, I'm going to get you. So that was a real funny part. And then, the rest of that whole ad. Oh, and then he goes into the hymns ad, which he said I forget. Like, it was like a movie or a show like that he mentioned that he referenced why he does the hymns, the word, the way he does it, like, and just saying hymns, like, yeah, it's hymns. He does it like the hymns and all like sassy sounding or something. And she's like, why do you say it like, oh man. Well, and the funny part, it wasn't, I mean, he was a little funnier with it because, and that's what I like about having Nia on the show is he likes making her laugh. So it's like, okay, you make her laugh. You're inadvertently making your fans laugh, so fucking keep Nia on the podcast so it's funny. Because I was laughing a good bit at the podcast, but what I was about to say is, Bill was funny, and he's being goofy because, because Nia was there, so, he was funny, but what's made it even more funny was he would go back to being serious. He's like, all right. So anyways, if you have this, and this, and erectile dysfunction, and hymns, and, yada, yada, and I don't know the exact, and then he starts reading the prompt for him. It's like, say something unique about your personal life here, and she's like, wait, are you reading the prompt? And it's like, I've done a job before where I was, telemarketing. So asking, are you reading the prompt? It's like, oh, dude, like I've had to do stuff where I've had to, it's like, it'll say, the prompt, and then it'll say the actual script, and then the prompt, and then the script, and I have to, skip the prompting, or, if you don't know it, read it, but, well, read it to yourself, not out loud to the show. But so that was the best fucking, that and Nia in the background just snickering and fucking laughing. Like I said, every time that he tried to get back to serious and read the fucking advertisement or whatever he was reading, fucking you just hear her in the background just, or a fucking little, like a little snort, it's just fucking great. It was great because you knew, like, she was trying so hard to give him, and she even, like, had her own show, like, her own commercial, podcast, advertisement, whatever it was she had to do later on. But, so, it's like she's trying to be professional. She corrected him on the prompt, and then she's trying to be professional and, like, quietly stay out of the advertisement. And it's just like, hymns, erectile dysfunction, and then he starts laughing, talks to her. He's like, all right, anyway. So, yeah, if you need this, and then here's a snicker, and then he fucking can't handle it, and then they're both laughing again. And, man, that shit was hilarious, because it's like, it's like, man, I just want to get this shit over with, but you're laughing. Like, it's one of those, like, you're laughing so hard, like, you trying not to piss or something. Yeah, it was a good podcast. It was funny. And, it was mostly just talking about fucking the ads and talking with Nia. I don't even really remember a specific, actual specific thing he was talking about. But, yeah, so, that, like I said, Thursday, he even said he didn't really have too much to get into. And then, yesterday's was real funny, for me at least. I thought it was funny, and then, listening to him and Nia go back and forth, I mean, like I said, I'm happy for him to be happy, and, it's cool that, he can make people laugh being happy, but it seems like Nia is the new laugh, what'd they call Charlie, man? Somebody called Charlie a misinformation machine, so I'd call, if Bill is, if his anger was the laugh machine, then now Nia is the new machine for laughter. Like that's the new crutch or whatever you want to call it. The new fucking launch pad for his comedy. Because that was probably the funniest, the most I've laughed at a Bill podcast since I started listening to his podcasts. His stand-ups, yeah, I laugh my ass off, but the podcasts, like I said, they're so serious. That's why I've been trying to change the format to make Fridays my own, because there's nothing to joke about. And how the fuck do you become a comedian with no jokes? I mean, fuck. So yeah, that being said, on that note, that's all I got for this week, for his Thursday. For Monday, sports-wise, fucking my Jets lost. I expect them to lose, so, nobody, well, you can fucking comment and talk shit about the Jets all you want, but you're not going to hurt my feelings because I expected them to lose even worse this week. But yeah, I expect a loss every week. But, Yankees, looks like they're going to make wild card. I don't think they're going to go deep. Hopefully, but, being realistic, or, thinking I'm realistic. And then, let's see, whether basketball I don't really follow, so I can't comment. And then, finally, hockey. Saturday is the first preseason game for the league that I know of. And then, for my Tampa Bay Lightning, that'll be Monday against Carolina, first preseason. Get to see what some of the young guys look like and see what some of the line combinations and things are going to look like. Pretty much same team from last year, so it's really just the young guys trying to make, that bottom line or make that, that depth role. Other than that, baseball, yeah, we're down to the fucking nitty-gritty. We got 10, 12 games left, so shit's getting tight. Next couple podcasts, we'll be talking about playoffs, and then fucking, see how it goes. But yeah, other than that, I can actually, since I'm on time, say, have a good rest of your week. Happy, healthy, safe, sexy, fun, whatever you want to fucking call it. And go fuck yourselves. Bill, go fuck yourself. Nia, enjoy your week. I'm not going to say it to her. I'm not that much of an asshole, even though it is all comedy. So technically, if I said it, she knows I don't mean it like that, but you know what? I'll say it, Bill, again. Bill, go fuck yourself for your wife. There you go. Have a good week, everybody.